Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. And before we get started, I want to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Motion by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that we accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves the circulated the minutes from our regular council meeting of June the 23rd of 2025. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas the Municipal Act, Section 160, Bracket 2, states each member of council must attend the public hearing unless the member is accused. We don't need it because Councillor Stikilo is online, so that is done. Thank you, Charla. Moved by Councillor Sobring and seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that we adjourn to hear the public hearing as scheduled. And that's, I'm assuming everyone's in favor of that. So we have no one physically represented here, so there won't be anyone for or against the public hearing in present. So I just wanted to move right to the deliberation and the decision because council has had a chance to review
just to see if there's any
all of the materials. Any questions based on the information provided by the building inspector or in the memorandum? Seeing none, then you don't have to even make a motion for this. No. Okay. So we'll go back to this and then we'll decide. So moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Stikilo. Be resolved that we reconvene to the regular council meeting. And that would be all in favor, I'm assuming. And now motion by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be it resolved that the public hearing has been completed, which for applicant Ron Slobodian for lot 16, plan 2364, and which is 29 Tulip Crescent, to allow for the installation of a prefab 16 by 26 garage be now concluded. All in favor? Yep. And motion by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobring. Be resolved that the variance application by Ron Slobodian for the aforementioned property needs to comply with the City of Dauphin bylaw and can be approved with the following conditions: that a building permit will be required from the city for the installation of a proposed detached garage. All construction shall comply with the building code. That the building layout and grading is the property owner's responsibility and shall be in accordance with the city policy and approved site plan. That lot surface drainage cannot adversely affect the property or the adjacent property. It is recommended that it be done in consultation and cooperation with the adjacent property owners. That lane access to the detached garage is permitted, but no extra lane maintenance or snow clearing will be provided. And that lane access to the detached garage must not be from the side of structure parallel to the lane. So those are the conditions outlined by the building inspector. Any comments or questions from members of council about approving this variance? Seeing none, I'll ask the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Wish every variance application process was that simple and straightforward. We'll move to the consent agenda. We have a couple of action items regarding outstanding receivable accounts added to taxes. Roll number 0011200, $767.14, and that's the replacement of a water meter. We have one proclamation this week, and that's about Canada's National Ukraine Festival Week, and I'll ask Councillor Bellemare for that.
Thank you.
Whereas Canada's National Ukrainian Festival will be celebrating its 60th anniversary on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd day of August 2025, and whereas Canada's National Ukrainian Festival has, with assistance of many volunteers, attracted tourists from all over the world to visit the city of Dauphin, and whereas this year marks 134 years since Canada's first Ukrainian settlers crossed the Atlantic to begin a new life on the Prairie Homestead, and whereas 134 years of Ukrainian-Canadian involvement in the cultural, economic, political, social, and spiritual life of our city, province, and country is being celebrated, and whereas Shiraz has 2 brand new dances for the festival, now therefore, some of them caught it. All right, I know who's paying attention. Thank you, I just added that in. Now therefore, we, the city, the Council of the City of Dauphin do hereby proclaim July 28th to August 3rd, 2025 as Canada's National Ukrainian Festival Week, dated in the City of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba, this 14th day of July 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare, for that wonderful rendition of the proclamation. We've got a couple of filing items. We have the Community Futures Parkland newsletter for July, the Growing Manitoba Ag newsletter also for July, and the 2024 annual report from Manitoba Municipal Northern Relations related to the City of Dauphin included. So the motion is by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, that all items read under item 5, the consent agenda, be approved and form part of these minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray, that we accept the information presented in the City Manager's report for the month of June. I'll ask Charlotte if there's any highlights she'd like to present to us.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to highlight that for the first 3 weeks in June, Councillor Daly, this Municipal Emergency Coordinator, Safety Manager Conrad Demaray, and myself we're providing some assistance and maybe some monitoring as well for fire evacuees in Dauphin. So I did want to say thank you to some organizations that offered supports, including West Region Treaty 2 and 4 Health Services, Northwest Métis Council and Manitoba Métis Federation, Manitoba Harm Reduction, and many departments and programs within Prairie Mountain Health. There was also a lot of local businesses who made donations and helped, as well as private citizens. So thank you for providing that assistance to our fire evacuated neighbors in other parts of Manitoba. That is all I'll highlight today.
Thanks, Charlotte. Any questions for the City Manager from any members of Council? Seeing none, I'll call for the question on the resolution. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that we accept as information the corporate report for the Deputy City Manager for June, and I'll ask Lisa to highlight some things in that report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Boziak. So as part of our graffiti support pilot program, staff have tested multiple removal products and have selected the world's best graffiti removal system from Urban Restoration Group. Based on product effectiveness and ease of use, we've placed an order for citizens' kits for sensitive surfaces, bare brick, stone, and masonry, and packs of graffiti wipes. And this should allow us to support the removal of at least 100 graffiti tags across the community. And once the product arrives, actually part of it has already arrived, so and the service on this is quite quick. We will be rolling out a community promotional campaign to encourage resident participation and support for graffiti removal efforts. Also, as part of our shift toward a more humane and progressive approach to animal services, the city has begun the rollout of our Trap, Neuter, Return program for community cats. The program is designed to address the overpopulation of unowned, free-roaming cats by humanely trapping, sterilizing, vaccinating them, and returning them to their home territories. Ear tipping will be used to identify cats that have already been through the program. TNR has been shown to reduce the number of community cats over time while improving animal welfare and reducing strain on city resources. Program implementation will continue in collaboration with local partners and volunteers, and we're grateful for the support of the Uptown Pet Clinic. They were very willing to jump on board to provide spay-neuter services for our TNR initiative at reduced rates. That's all for tonight. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa. Members of council, any questions? Councillor Sobering?
Yeah, I just have one. I've been getting a lot of chatter about pigeons, and I know it's not SNAP, but anything that the animal services, are we doing anything with pigeons or?
We do get, we did have some complaints in June about pigeons. That's been dying down a little bit. And we take the approach now that we try to coexist with urban wildlife. And we are researching long-term solutions for pigeons, which includes sterilization. So that is looking promising, but otherwise we encourage residents and business owners to look at pigeons just like they would at any other pest. So they are responsible for contacting a pest removal company to remove them, or they can install the spikes or the gel themselves. And they are a nuisance, but there's 400 million pigeons worldwide, and they're found in every city from New York to Tokyo to Dauphin, Manitoba. And if you go to Winnipeg and you go to any restaurant, you'll see a couple of pigeons toddling around outside, and they're a nuisance, but they're part of the urban life.
Okay, thanks. I like that. New York to Tokyo to Dauphin.
Yeah.
Use that.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Bellemare?
Just a comment. So in the last report from the animal control person, I see that the TNR number was there. So, it's active, and it's just nice to have that number. So thank you for that.
All right, call for the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be resolved that we accept the report for the June meeting from the ICT manager. Any questions or comments regarding Justin's report? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that finance accounts, having been examined by members of council, hereby be authorized and approved as follows. In the last check run, we had 120 checks for a total of $738,856.06. There was one electronic fund transfer for $1,329.76. There were no voided checks in the current or past range, and we had 8 electronic payments in June for a total of $222,838.78. Any questions or comments regarding the financial report? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the unaudited financial statements for the period ending April 30th. That includes the general fund balance sheet and income statement and the utility fund balance sheet and income statement. Any questions regarding these two financial reports? Call for the question then. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that we accept as information the reserve report for the period ending April 2025. Questions or comments regarding the reserve report? All in favor of the resolution? Anyone opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Skylo. Be it resolved that we accept as information the engineering staff report from the building inspector for the month of June. Any questions or comments regarding anything in the building inspector's report? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that we accept as information the Protective Services report from the bylaw enforcement officer for the month of June. Any questions regarding the bylaw enforcement officer's report? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray, that we accept the Protective Services report from the Animal Services officer for the month of June. Questions or comments regarding the Animal Services report? All in favor? Opposed? Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Skylo. Be resolved that we accept as information minutes and reports from the following committees. The Dauphin District Allied Arts Council submitted their 2024 financial statements. The Intermountain Watershed District presented their regular board meeting minutes from April, and the Fort Dauphin Museum presented their annual board meeting minutes from June the 5th, their board minutes from July the 12th, and then their regular board meeting minutes from June the 4th, and the manager's report dated July the 2nd. Any questions or comments regarding any of these reports? I'd just like to add that regarding the Fort Dauphin Museum, our economic development manager has been in contact with another member of their board to continue to discuss some work that we may be able to support through the Tourism Development Fund, like we did a couple years ago with the Watson Arts Council. Their board has finally contacted us to say they'd like to get on with that, and we're into the early stages of discussion on that. So there may be a resolution coming at a future date to council to approve that work that will be done with the Fort Dauphin Museum. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas at the regular meeting of May 12th, Council passed Resolution 2025-289, advocating for the Association of Manitoba Municipalities to lobby the province to develop and implement a comprehensive radon action strategy to address the serious public health risks associated with prolonged radon exposure, particularly in regions like Manitoba where radon levels are among the highest in Canada, and to ensure coordinated efforts in awareness, testing, mitigation, and support for residents across the province. And whereas this resolution received the support of 6 co-sponsoring municipalities, including the City of Thompson, the Municipality of Souris-Glenwood, the Municipality of Yellowhead, the RM of Dauphin, the RM of Springfield, and the RM of Elton. And whereas the AMM classified Resolution 2025-289 as a Category 3 non-municipal issue, and therefore this resolution was not presented at the AMM June district meetings and will not be forwarded to the AMM Annual Fall Convention for review. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated July 9th from Dennis Volkov, President of AMM, to the Honorable Uzoma Asaguera, Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care, requesting that the department conduct a thorough review of the resolution advocating for a provincial radon action strategy and provide an official response to the co-sponsoring municipalities outlining how the provincial government is addressing this critical issue that affects every municipality in Manitoba. All in favor of that resolution, or any comments or discussion on it? Councillor Bellemare.
Just a comment. I've never seen this process before. I think it's really cool that something this important didn't get tossed aside because of a ruling, So just really pleased to see this.
Anyone else? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. I'd just like to commend Lisa and staff in particular that spent a lot of time and energy on this, and I know the uptake in our community was significant, and I know that radon is a significant concern for many in our municipality, and so I think this is, as Councillor Bellemare indicates, a very interesting procedural move by AMM. The next resolution, moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the city is undertaking the development of climate adaptation plan for an estimated total cost of $95,630, which will be partially funded by a $15,000 grant from Manitoba's Climate Action Fund. And whereas in correspondence dated May the 2nd to the city, we are advised of its successful application to the FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities Green Municipal Fund, for a grant of up to $70,000 to help fund the development of our climate adaptation plan. Be it resolved that Council accepts this informal memo dated July 14th from the ICT manager, recommending that Council approves the letter FCM requires to confirm the city's commitment to funding the remaining project costs beyond the $70,000 grant amount. Further be resolved that Council agrees with the ICT manager's recommendation, commits to funding the remaining costs of the adaptation plan that is not covered by grants, and authorizes the FCM's confirmation of application contribution letter to be signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager on behalf of our city. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Whereas at their regular meeting of August the 19th, 2024, Council passed Resolution 2024-434 regarding recreation funding for the year 2025, which approved the acceptance of the rural municipality of Dauphin's $375,000 financial contribution to recreation with certain conditions. And whereas the councils of the city and the RM of Dauphin subsequently discussed recreation funding for 2026 and beyond, including details of a potential agreement that upon review provided lower funding level to DRS than in previous years, resulting in a breakdown of negotiations between the two municipalities. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated February 14th, 2025 from Reeve Ernie Sersky of the RM of Dauphin, offering recreation funding in the amount of $350,000 in 2026 and $350,000 in 2027 with no conditions, that evaluates this offer to be the best solution considering the breakdown of negotiations, and confirms email correspondence from myself to Reeve Sersky dated March 24th, 2025, notifying the RM of our decision to accept this February 14th, 2025 recreation funding offer from the rural municipality. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Whereas the Dauphin Community Band, which has been supported by the City of Dauphin grant funding, was governed by the Dauphin Boys and Girls Band Act until November 2018, when the act was repealed. And whereas in 2019, administration of the Dauphin Community Concert Band and Jazz Band was transferred to the City of Dauphin, and employment contracts were drawn up, which included monthly payments to the respective band leaders based on their actual work, $156.25 for the concert band leader and $125 for the jazz band leader per rehearsal and performance. Be it resolved that council accepts as info a memo dated July 11th from the Deputy City Manager, noting that the Dauphin Community Band Committee has requested an increase in band leader pay and recommend that the rate per rehearsal and performance be increased to match the $156.25 rate allocated to the concert band leader. Be it resolved that council agrees with this recommendation and approves the increase to $156.25 per rehearsal and performance. Further be resolved that council authorizes the updated band leader agreements effective immediately to be signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager on behalf of the city. Further be resolved that the relationship between the city and the Dauphin Community Band be reevaluated again in 2026. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laughlin. Whereas council is in receipt of a memo dated July 10th from Brittany Kolachuk, our tax clerk, requesting approval to enroll in the Manitoba Municipal Administrators Program at the University of Manitoba. And whereas at the regular meeting of September the 12th, 2005, council passed a resolution authorizing clerical staff to be reimbursed for tuition, books, and travel required by the U of M for courses in the Certificate in Manitoba Municipal Administrator Program, and that courses be made available to others upon request. Be resolved that council reimburses Brittany for tuition fees, books, and travel expenses required by the U of M for courses towards fulfillment of the Certificate in Manitoba Municipal Administration upon successful completion of each course in the program. Questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Sicalo. Whereas the RM of Dauphin and the city jointly own the Dauphin Business Park, which has land available, be it resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated July 11th from the Economic Development Manager advising that JJM Properties has submitted an offer to purchase a 2.39 acre parcel in the business park, which is legally described as Lot 5, Plan 64087 in Northeast 162519 for $47,800 plus taxes, and recommends that the offer be accepted. Further be resolved that council agrees with the active manager's recommendation and accepts the offer to purchase the said acreage for $47,800 plus applicable taxes, subject to all conditions as outlined in the duly executed agreement to sell and purchase. Further be resolved that council authorizes the possession documents, including the agreement to sell and purchase for the lot, to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the deputy city manager on behalf, and the city manager on behalf of the city. And further be resolved that this approval is subject to confirmation of the same from the arm of Dauphin. Questions or comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that bylaw 02-2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade as a local improvement, be now read a second time as amended. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be resolved that bylaw 02-2025, being a bylaw of the city to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade as a local improvement, be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. As this is a recorded vote, we'll go along the line. And Councillor Sobring, in favor. Loughlin. Councillor Sticilo.
Yep.
Yep. Councillor Bellemare. Daly. Ray. I didn't mean to miss you, Councillor Ray, but I just saw Councillor Daly with his hand up, and I saw the excitement in his face. I jumped right to him. Motion is carried. It's exciting stuff. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sticilo. Be it resolved that bylaw 03-2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade, which is a utility debenture surcharge repayment, be now read a second time as amended. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried. And here we go again, folks. This one is moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that bylaw 03-2025, being a bylaw of the city to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade under the utility debenture surcharge repayment plan, be now read a third time and signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. Again, a recorded vote. Sobring, yay. Loughlin, lay. Sticilo, I'm assuming
Yes.
is a yay. Yes, it is. Bellemare. Ray. Yeah, Daly's not sure. And motion is carried. What a motley crew of councillors we have today. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be resolved that bylaw 10-2025, being a bylaw of the city to regulate the use and development of land, be now read a first time. All those in favor of this resolution? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Daly and seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that we accept as information the following invitations. Tim Hortons Camp Day of July 16th. Has anyone indicated ability to attend or? Okay, we have one or two members of council. The Anishinaabe Aki Petro Station grand opening, July the 28th. Same thing. I know a couple of councillors are going to be attending that. And the Gilbert Plains Municipality Municipal Golf Tournament on August the 13th. Is anyone available for that?
You gotta take my place.
Okay, we'll send our ringer, counselor. We'll try to find a counselor who can golf up to the level of Deputy Mayor Sticilo or Deputy Mayor. Counselor Ray, but you're the champion of the club, and I figured you're the ringer that we have, and no pressure there. But anyone else know how to golf? Yeah, but Mike will be a former city employee at that time. We can close enough. Yeah. Well, okay, we'll work on that. So further be resolved that any expenses related to council and senior manager attending these events be borne by the city. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We're moving to the councillor reports. So the motion is by Councillor Bellemare and seconded by Councillor Daly. And well, we can't approve this resolution until we hear the report. So we'll start with the bright and bushy-tailed Councillor Daly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have been away, and a few committee meetings have been postponed and or canceled due to summer activities. So I actually have nothing to report. Thank you.
Councillor Daly, that is not like you. You tell me a story then.
I did some work actually for Councillor Sobering while I was in the East Coast on storefront incentives and some of the things that are going on in Bathurst, New Brunswick that look similar to what we were hoping to do. I've also met with the city manager to discuss the potential second round of evacuees that may wind up coming to Dauphin as a result of the wildfires. And so I've been busy, but nothing specific or detailed with respect to our duties.
I knew there was something there that had to be shared. So thank you very much, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. 23rd, I attended our last regular council meeting. From the 26th to the 29th, I was running the 50-50 for Country Fest, and all 4 prizes have now been claimed. July 7th, I attended the Community Safety and Wellbeing Project Team meeting here at City Hall. And then on the 10th, I joined the Community Safety and Wellbeing Advisory Group Teams meeting with CCFSC. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the Canada Day concert held in Vermilion Park, but I know it was well attended and have heard many positive comments about the event. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councillor Bellemare, you're next.
Thank you. On June 24th, I took part in the community tree planting of 3,000 new trees at Vermilion Sportsplex. On the 26th, I attended a City Beautification Committee meeting and also attended a Riverside Cemetery meeting that focused on the Columbarium project that's currently underway. On the 27th, I attended the Watson Annual General Meeting, and welcome to the 5 new directors that stepped forward to join the DDAAC board for the upcoming year. There's so many events happening at this cool place, and they're always looking for volunteers if you have spare time. On the 28th, I rode my comfort bike in the fair parade, and it was great to see so many people out. On July 7th and 10th, I attended community safety and well-being meetings, and at these meetings, we finalized our vision statement and our action selection criteria for our plan. So what that means, so from our gathered data, we know what the community concerns are, and now we need to develop actions to address these concerns, but we need to make sure that the actions we do take are meaningful and effective, otherwise we're just wasting our time. So thus we developed this vision statement and the action selection criteria to make sure we stay on the right track with the actions we select and implement. On the 7th, community events, I attended a Mama Way park meeting to envision upcoming play areas for this park, and inspiration was in the air, and we developed some good ideas. And stay tuned, as the summer slide will be installed soon on the hill. The slide itself is in Dauphin, and prep work will be happening so it can be installed properly. And news about Mama Way can be found on the DRS website and their Facebook page. And kudos, thank you to the city staff who worked on Canada Day when most of us are enjoying a holiday. And they brought us our first ever Canada Day celebration in CN Park. Lots of great activities there that was enjoyed by a large crowd. So stay tuned for an even better event in 2026. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councillor Sticalo, you're next, if you're ready.
I am. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, June 9th, regular council meeting. I did have to miss a couple of meetings in between. And then for council work or for committee work, hasn't been any real committees that I've been on. You can tell it's summer when the meetings start to drop off and the festivities start. But I do want to just say I was able to take in some of the events and festivities, including the fair, Country Fest, Canada Day. And it's just always great to see all of the people out enjoying those events and just a buzz around the community. And, it's thanks to all that helped put these events on, as well as all the volunteers and as well as all the staff that have to put these events on. So thank you for that. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Laughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For me, June 23rd, that regular council meeting here at City Hall. On the 26th, the city beautification meeting here at City Hall as well. From the 26th to the 29th, I too attended both Dauphin's Country Fest and Dauphin Fair. Just want to say congratulations to both those organizations on great weekends. I did purchase 50-50 tickets from Councillor Ray at Country Fest. Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful at winning, so I won't be purchasing from him next year. I'd like to just, I know not a lot of meetings going on right now, but just want to tell everybody to enjoy their summer because winter is not very far away. The case in point is they were painting the ice today in Credit Union Place. So, yeah, that ends my report.
Councillor Sobering.
Wow, doom and gloom. I attended the last meeting, council meeting, June 23rd. I was attendee for a craft district meeting regarding some of the designing and tenders. June 28th, I was at the Ag Society or Ag Fair Parade, riding my bike, and it was lots of fun. And I also attended the Riverside Cemetery meeting about the columbarium, which was very productive. It's always exciting to see these projects move forward. I also attended some tree planting. So I guess Councillor Bellemare and I are buddies, council buddies. We go to the same meetings, but it was a really great day. It was super hot and lots of trees got planted, and hopefully they're going to all thrive and we'll get a little bit of water. Other than that, not too much, just same thing. Wanted to give kudos to the celebrations for Canada Day, all the hard work that's being done by volunteers at Country Fest and the Ag Society, and this ends my report.
Thank you. Just to wrap up, there was a couple of things that I was involved in as well, like the fair parade, and Councillor Sobering was on a bike, and Councillor Bellemare was on a bike, and Deputy Mayor Laughlin was eating candy on the back of the truck, but no comment. Yeah, but no. Again, thanks to the organizations that put on their events. I know that the city had a much bigger presence at this year's annual Country Fest celebration, and I know I want to give a shout out to Cameron and Ember and Martine for all the work and energy that went into, upholding our end as sponsors of the event, but also of being great ambassadors for our community. And it's a lot of hard work, and our staff, really puts it out on our behalf, and that goes same for the Canada Day event. I did attend, and it was very well attended, and it was a warm day, and the entertainment was great, local artists, and it's just, again, so great to see that we're moving ahead as a community and as a council, and doing something better than we've done before in regards to Canada Day celebration. So kudos to Lisa and Martine and Ember and others that were there and put in a lot of time and effort in putting on that event. And in relation to that, I just also want to commend Lisa for putting up with some public comments and other things that I think were uncalled for and unnecessary regarding that, the change in plan. That was a council decision, a unanimous council decision to go away from fireworks, yet we didn't have to deal with the public comments. She unfortunately had to, and I commend her for doing that very diplomatically, and for not throwing council under the bus, but basically standing up for a decision that council made. So as mayor, I will certainly stand up and take credit for the decision to move away from fireworks, and think it's a wonderful move to the future, and that next year that Canada Day will be as good as this year's and different and a little bit better, because we're going to do more. And so it was a great event, and the people that I talked to in the park were extremely pleased. They were they were pleased and then disappointed it was over so soon. And they wanted more, and I think that bodes well for us as we plan next year's event to provide more. And I want to acknowledge the Arts Center for also being there, Cam Bennett and folks from the WAC that helped put on that event. And just wanted to add one other thing that I also attended with some senior staff, an engagement session, an online engagement session with Justice, Manitoba Justice primarily, in regards to the Dauphin Justice Center. That ongoing planning, the provincial government has acquired the services of consultants that are working on the project and continuing to gather input from stakeholders. And so we attended that meeting and provided some input and feedback. And I just wanted to report that I think planning for that is moving along, probably not as fast as we would like it to, yet I would say very accordingly and done in good stead. And then finally, in regards to, there was an announcement made last week by the provincial government in regards to the intersection on highways 1 and 5 regarding the Carberry bus crash of a couple years ago. And I just want to acknowledge that the province did reach out to us, the city, directly prior to the public announcement, just to let us know that they were making that call. And if we had any comments or feedback, and I reported that no, that our comments or city council or the city of Dauphins, we're basically leaving it up to the professionals that know what they're doing, and we'll go with that decision. So with that, I will call for the question then. All those in favor of accepting council reports, please indicate. Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly, be resolved that this council meeting be recessed at 5:40.